Hello, today I am demonstrating how to make breakfast cookies. Cookies is kind of a loose term because we're going to bake them like cookies, but they really don't have anything or very much of anything in them that is unhealthy. So these are a really nutritious breakfast bite, but we're going to shape them like cookies, so that's why they're called cookies. So I'm going to just follow through the recipe. I've already preheated my oven to 375 degrees. Next, it says to prepare a cookie sheet with parchment paper. So I have already done that. I've just cut a piece of parchment paper to fit a cookie sheet. If you don't have parchment paper, you can spray it with cooking spray. The parchment paper just helps it stick a little bit less because this dough is going to be kind of wet. In a large bowl, I am going to mash 2 ripe bananas. If you don't have ripe bananas, it will just be harder to mash them, but you can still use them. Mine are about half ripe, a little bit brown spots, but you know, not super mushy. So I will just take a fork and mash them. Okay, now that my bananas are nice and mashed, I'm gonna go ahead and add in the rest of the ingredients in the order that it says on the recipe. So my first ingredient is 2 cups of quick cooking oats. To measure the quick cooking oats, I'm just going to scoop them out and then if needed, use a spoon to fill it the rest of the way and make sure that I'm using a very good and accurate measurement. Kind of fill it to overflowing and then use a leveler or the back of a knife to level it off. There's 1 cup. And 2 cups. Next, I'm going to add my applesauce. It calls for unsweetened applesauce just to make it a little bit healthier, so it has no sugar added. If all you have is regular applesauce, it's fine. Just know it'll increase the sugar content a little bit. So 1 cup. I'm going to use a dry measuring cup just because this is a semi-solid, and so I'm going to just fill it up till it's overflowing and then level it off. My next ingredient is 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. So lowercase t or lowercase tsp stands for cinnamon. So that's the littler of the measuring spoons. Uppercase T or TBSP stands for tablespoon, which as you can see is a lot bigger than a teaspoon. It's about 3 times the size. So we want to make sure that we're using the proper measuring utensils. So I'm just going to scoop it out, and then I already used my leveler for the applesauce. I'm just going to grab out another knife and attempt to level that off. 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, and then a teaspoon of vanilla extract. And I'm going to go ahead and just stir all of this together. Now you have the option to stir in 1/3 cup of an additional ingredient. I'm going to stir in chocolate chips because that's my girl's favorite. You could do raisins or craisins, dried cranberries, or something like that. For our stir-in ingredient, we're going to use 1/3 cup. And once that's all mixed together, that is it. Now we're ready to put them on our cookie sheet and bake them. I like to use a cookie scoop because it just gives me a nice even amount of batter in each cookie, and that helps them to just cook more evenly. So I'm just gonna use that scoop scoop it onto my parchment paper and get this baby filled up. The last step of the recipe says to flatten the cookies into more of a rounded shape. They're not going to spread a lot in the oven like a normal cookie would, so that's why we kind of just flatten them out to get that cookie shape. Now I'm just using the back of the spoon that I already used for the applesauce. All right, now I'm going to pop these in the oven at 375 degrees for 20 minutes. The final product. So it's just going to be a little bit golden brown on the top. I might have cooked mine just a smidge too long because they're a little bit dark on the bottom, but they will still taste good. It'll turn out to be a nice chewy texture, healthy breakfast cookie.